Good morning. How are you? It's Friday, May 9th. And I wanted to come on. Hello, hello. Again, I'm doing it. I don't know whether it started when it said it started. So happy Friday, May 9th. And I'm coming on early. I have a coffee, decaf. I really can't tell the difference anymore. So and I came on because I was making coffee. My husband's out of the house. He'd made his cup. He left. He cleaned. He's emptied. That we've got a little pod that we refill. Not takes a pod, but it's one that we put coffee in. Not we don't buy them. So he'd done that, and then I was making my cup of coffee, and there was coffee on the counter, and I'm wiping it up like, you know how anyone that has a partner understands. You're like, and then it occurred to me, and then okay, so I had two thoughts. I had a thought, this is why I'm on. I had a thought that said, if I lived on my own and I were doing this, having this reaction, it wasn't a response, it was a reaction, then I would know that I had done it. And then my thought was, no, the reaction was a sigh. The response was this thought. And the thought that followed was, well, what if you are on your own and this lovely man that you are sharing your home with is just another aspect of yourself. So you are the one that left the coffee grounds on the counter. And maybe I did and maybe I didn't, but that doesn't matter. What matters was this thought that just was dropped into my head. And so I thought, that is so interesting. We are truly all one. And I've heard it described, I've heard different ways of describing this. And it's quite a wild concept to wrap your head around, is that everyone's just a reflection. They're just playing a part on the stage. They're actors on your stage, right? And some of them you are, or say a film. They're actors in your film. And some of them you have direct, you're always communicating with each other, interacting with each other. And then they're the background players. They're just walking around, filling in space, the space fillers, I've heard it described. So when you go out in the world and you're out in the store, there are space fillers. They're the ones shopping along with you. And then your interaction with the cashier or another shopper, they're an actor. I thought, I know, wrap your head around it if you want, or play with it if you want. Like it's kind of fun to play with these ideas. And maybe you're too tired to play with these ideas. Maybe you're like, Linda, no. Giving me the proverbial middle finger, like, I'm tired of all this stuff. I just want it to be over with. I want things to be more normal. I want not to have to think about the world and the politics and all the shuffling that's going on. I just want my life to be what it was like I'm hearing before the pandemic, before then. So here's a story, folks. You signed on for this, and I mentioned that before. You signed on for it. So you can either fight against this or just kind of go, well, I really did want something interesting, didn't I? Now, there are other people that signed on for it but are not experiencing it in the same way because they are in different cultures. They're in places where it doesn't affect them in the same way, where there's no Wi-Fi. They're not affected by the news coming in every day. The pandemic was way far away in another, like somewhere else. They might have heard about it, 6 months, 7 months afterwards. That's just the nature of our beautiful world. And so you can see how those placeholders perhaps are there for a reason to hold the energy on the planet that all is okay. All is fine. And that is what you can do in your You guys are really rambling around here, my guides. That is what you can do in your part of the world. You can hold the energy. That's, you don't have to do things. You just have to be. You just have to be the energy that says it's all going to be okay. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, did you hear? I did hear that. What do you think? I think everything's going to be okay. Did you know? I do know. So, I think everything's going to be okay. And I say to you, everything's going to be okay, but I have no idea what that will look like in the end, other than everyone. There'll be stages of okay, right? It's not like you get up one morning and go, wow, because some of the things that you might want to see unfold will unfold, and you'll be like, yay! But then there's the fallout from that as well, okay? There's the fallout from that as well. So there will be sighs of relief as every step unfolds for different people for different reasons. That's just the way of it. Might as well accept it rather than butting up against it, right? So right now, dear ones, take a big breath. Hold it, and then just let it out. You can have your sigh of relief right now in this moment, right? Okay. So, a card for this moment for you. From this deck. And I think someone gave me this deck. And I didn't use it a lot, and then I started using it. And it's the soul lessons and soul purpose. So it is all about that, right? And I don't really think of them as lessons so much as reminders and experiences. And the soul purpose is strictly growth. That's it, growth. Experiencing every aspect of being human on this planet, whether it's in this lifetime or in other lifetimes, if you believe in that, but every aspect of self. So there's the yin and the yang, the black and the white, all the opposites and all the variations in between that. I know, it's wild, isn't it? Okay, so, okay, my sweets. I'm not the ultimate card shuffler. I truly am not. There we go. Engage higher reason. So there's a water, a river. There's a river. It looks as if there's something in the river that's floating downstream. Oh, it's a boat. It's a boat. It's a boat, and it's not floating, it's half submerged. But there's a bridge. Can you see that? There's a bridge, and there are two people on the bridge. And let's say perhaps they were on the boat. And perhaps that's how you're feeling right now. You were on the boat, and the boat was submerging. But the universe is saying there's a bridge. There's a bridge from one place to the other. There's a bridge for you. And so step out of your reactions and go to that engage, that party you. See, the reaction's more like that visceral animal instinct, that kind of, like a mother protecting a child, like a bear protecting its cub. There's this like kind of visceral reaction, right? But that's not always necessary or needed. That's okay for some instances. But here we're reminded to engage our higher reasoning. And I'm hearing with this a question that someone that does a podcast and talks to different people is like, who does that make sense to? And so there will be things being said out there, right? And if you take it at face value without saying, well, who does that make sense to? Like that part of you is like, what? Well, the part of you that's going what is a part of you that's going, who does that make sense to? Now, sometimes that what is so big that you'd rather be drawn into what you're being told rather than what you're sensing. And so conspiracy theories are like a blanket, a comfort blanket for people because it explains everything, right? Someone else is doing this, and yeah, are there other people pulling, doing things? Of course there are. It's as old as time happens in from up here in government, into businesses, into politics on the community level, into your family. I mean, it's as old as time. This is nothing new. However, we have a responsibility to ourselves. Yeah, that's the word they want to use. We have a responsibility to ourselves to engage. I want you to see this and remember these words. Engage in higher reason. Ask yourself, who does that make sense to? Is that true? Is part of it? And so ask those questions and lighten. Light means truth for you, not necessarily for everyone, for you. And heavy, when a heavy feeling in the pit of your stomach is like that, something's wrong here. And so then you can start to ask questions on that. All right, you've seen something, and then ask yourself, well, is part of this true? Because that's what's beautiful about conspiracy theories is there is a grain of truth. There is a grain of truth in things. There always is. In lies, there's always a grain of truth. The good lies have a grain of truth in them. That's what makes them really good, right? So ask any little kid that's figuring out, or teenager, how they're figuring out how they're going to lie. I remember my son, and I asked him a question, and did you do this? And he said no. Well, I found out later he technically didn't do that. He seen the loophole I'd left, right? He knew what I was asking, but he also knew that I didn't ask specifically. So were my mom's spidey sense on high alert for that? They were not, at all. At all. He was very convincing, but at that point he was 16, 17 years old. He had a lot of years to figure this out, figure out who I was and who he was in relationship to that. So interesting. So there's always a grain of truth in the lies. There's always a grain of truth in what you are being sold as a story. So ask, is that part? And you can ask through the whole thing. Or you can choose to turn away in the other way and not think about it. And that is cool too, if it's not directly affecting you, or unless you just want to do it for fun, as an exercise. Is that part true? Is this part true? Is that part true? Maybe make some notes about it. And then discover that you were right about some of it. And that builds your intuitive ability. And mine in some part will be built because I'll be able to look back on these videos and go, well, I said that, or I got that wrong, because the energies are fluid. So when you're doing this, when you're doing kind of predictive stuff, the energies are fluid. You're just reading the energies at that moment in time, the strongest energies. And then there are other energies. It was like the card the other day where there were all these different paths. There's so many different paths. So there's a lot going on, and many different ways that the energies can go. And right now, the energies are I'm hearing coalescing into a single, stronger energy that's going in one particular direction. And it will make some people very happy and make others not so happy. That's cool. So in North America, we are in a time of a great change. The whole world is, right? But I'm in Canada. I have people listening that may be listening from the US. And same thing, they are in times of massive change. But again, depending where you live, are you in a more populated area? You're in a less populated area. Are you in places where it doesn't matter what's going on? You're living off grid. And that was a choice, a lifestyle choice, not for any conspiracy reasons, just a lifestyle choice to be away from all the noise. So is what going on now matter? Probably not. Probably not. So think of it like that. Some people it matters, some people it doesn't. Some are so busy with their lives, which with kids and jobs, and they don't have the brain width to um, to go dive into any of this. They just kind of do the best that they can. So all that, thank you, reminding me why I'm telling you this. So those of us that do have the brain width to engage a higher reason, those of us have the brain width where we do not have such busy lives, are able to hold the energy of kindness, love, compassion, empathy, all the things that underpin a successful, all-inclusive society, community. So this is your sign that that's all you need to do. You don't have to go out there canvassing, door knocking, selling your point of view, selling someone else's point of view. Just do you. Okay? Engage your higher reason when you come across stuff and go, who does that make sense to? Maybe you say that when people are talking to you about things. Who does that make sense to? So understand that is where we are right now. And all you have to do, if you're watching this, you're already part way, if not all the way, into just being you, understanding how complex and nuanced life is. It's not simple. It's not black or white for anyone except maybe a baby. I'll tell you a quick little story. My daughter-in-law sent us a video of our grandson River, and he's just about 7 months old, and he was feeding the dog Zach, big black dog Zach's right at the high chair tray level, right? And he gave the dog some piece of sausage and a piece of egg. This little boy loves his food, and Hillary is allowing for him to try all sorts of different stuff. And Mom goes, "Did you just give your egg and sausage to Zach?" And he looks, and he's laughing. I did. And it was so funny because my husband saw the same video and said he looked guilty. And I said, he's 7 months old. He's incapable of feeling guilty about anything. He just answered like his whole thing was, I did. Did you see that? That was pretty cool. Zach really liked that. I gave him food. He really likes me. That was more my perspective. So know that there are nuances and complexities in everything. And when you look at something, you're frequently just placing your projection on well, you're always placing your projection on something. And it says a little bit about you. And my husband, bless his heart, when I said he's incapable of feeling guilty, and he goes, yeah, you're right. You're right. So engage your higher reason, right? And that is all for today. As you head into the weekend, do you. Ooh, I like that hair better that way. I should have done that. See, my brain's like boom, boom. There's nothing fun about looking at yourself as you're doing a video. But now I understand why actors and actresses get work done. I really do. So, you do you. Remember to gauge your higher reasons, understanding there's complexities and nuances to everything around you. In your own life, your family, community, you don't know everything that's going on. Some of it you don't need to know, unless you're super curious. And then sometimes curiosity killed the cat. Are you ready to know? That's what a conspiracy theory is. Are you ready to know what's really happening? And that's a big one. It's taken me probably 15 years to go, yeah, I'm okay. I won't be surprised. I won't be gobsmacked by anything. I might be like, oh, okay then. That happened. So This card's on top. It pulled my eye. Reach for the stars, people. Reach for the stars. It's the weekend. Do something nice for your mom that doesn't require her being involved unless she wants to be involved. You know, sometimes moms just want a day to themselves. They don't want to have to think about you coming over, you, you know, being there. Sometimes they just, especially if they've got a busy life with kids, you know, the best thing anyone can do is take the kids off the hand and give them a full day to themselves. And perhaps included in that, if you're able, a gift certificate for something beautiful, you know. I don't know. Send them off to their favorite, to go shopping if shopping's their thing, their favorite coffee store with a friend, but do something like that. Okay. Take care, love you, and go for your joy. Okay. Take care. Bye.